they said no 3 times. And on the 4th try, they said yes.
Even with all the money in the whole wide world, no, please, please, please don't pass me. Please, please, please don't pass me. Please, please, please don't pass me by.
Something that I wanted to talk about a little bit that I think I've alluded to in maybe some of my older videos, or definitely on my Instagram. If you go way, way back on my Instagram a couple of years, you'll see hints of my first venture that I started, which now thinking about it was 10 years ago, which is absolutely nuts. I started a clothing company when I was 16 years old. I was in high school. I wanted to do something a little bit different. I wanted to do something that was really challenging. I wanted to do something that nobody else that I knew was doing. I was hearing a lot about kids who were my age, 15, 16, 17, 18 years old, and they were starting businesses. Either kids were building websites and selling them as a service, or building apps and putting them on the App Store, or developing products, making jewelry and selling it on Etsy. It was basically these passion projects that then kids were leveraging and promoting through social media and through the internet. And I just thought that this was the most brilliant thing ever. I was like, look, if there are other people out there doing it, this is something that I can totally do and is totally for me. So I decided that I wanted to start this business. So I went to my parents. I'm like, look, guys, I'm starting this business. I don't really know how they kind of reacted. I can't really remember. I think it was one of those things of like, okay, Jane, like, cool, like, you're gonna start a business, like, have fun with that. I don't think that they really knew what I was getting into. I certainly didn't know what I was getting into, but they kind of went along for the ride anyway. And then they were hugely, hugely supportive of me, you know, starting this business. And it started out, I think, how a lot of people's businesses start out, where you think that you can just do everything. I'm going to design the t-shirts, I'm going to print the t-shirts, I'm going to sell them online, I'm just going to do everything. And I quickly learned that really couldn't be the case, and had to start really doing some proper research of how I was going to make this thing come to life. So I decided that I wanted to do a product-based business, and was really into streetwear and sneaker culture at the time. I was a big sneakerhead. I really liked to collect sneakers, and there was an entire, you know, lifestyle, trend, fashion, you know, look that existed in this world of streetwear. And there were a lot of companies out there that were starting to really do well. There were things like Only New York and Diamond Supply and Staple in New York and Supreme. So there were a bunch of these different companies that were just doing really, really well. And I loved wearing their clothes. I liked the energy. So I decided that I wanted to start a streetwear clothing company. So I started out making t-shirts. I started designing t-shirts. I taught myself how to use Adobe Photoshop, a very old now version of Adobe Photoshop, and started designing these t-shirts. And I did my market research, and I managed to find a screen printer in Brooklyn who actually also, which I would find out later, they were printing my stuff, but they were also printing a lot of stuff for Staple, for Only New York, a lot of the big players in the city, which was really cool to be, you know, using the same vendors. So I started making these t-shirts, and actually this is one of them that I'm wearing right now. This was one of our older ones that or the latest ones that I had done. It says the original on it, and I've sacrificed the sleeves on a lot of my t-shirts. Just the look that I wear now is different, but this was one of the designs that we did. This one was really popular as well. I did this in a t-shirt, and I did this in a sweatshirt, and we did a couple of runs of this because people really liked this one. It says wealth is more than money with a dollar bill on it. Also sacrificed the sleeves on this one. But basically I started designing this stuff and printing it, and just really worked on making a quality product. So I started to really try and sell this stuff online, and I realized that, you know, my fledgling website is great, and it's the first step in the right direction, but rather than trying to get people to come to me, I needed to go to my consumer and to my customer. So I figured out, I was like, okay, where are people going online to buy streetwear? Because if I can go there and be on that website, then I know that I'm in the right place. So I did my research and found Karmaloop.com, which I think is one of, if not the largest online streetwear retailer in the world. And they had a specific offering, they had a specific section of their website called Cosva, which was a marketplace for people exactly like me. They were kids, young people who were starting businesses, who wanted to get a bit of authenticity, they wanted to get a little bit of legitimacy, and Karmaloop could give that to them. So I applied to Karmaloop 3 times over probably about a year, and they said, or it was probably like 18 months maybe, and they said no 3 times. And on the 4th try, they said yes. So every time I had come out with a new t-shirt or a new sweatshirt, or eventually I started making hats and accessories, I would send Karmaloop my designs and photos and things like that. I don't know if I just wore them down, but I mean, that's where the power of perseverance comes in. But on the 4th try, they said yes, and they started selling my stuff on Karmaloop. So basically, a business that I had started a couple of years prior, where I thought that I was going to be printing all of these t-shirts myself, suddenly, as I went to college, I was starting to ship this stuff internationally. So we branched out, as I said, into doing accessories, doing hats, started to figure out the wholesale vendors obviously for the t-shirts, wholesale vendors for hats, making sure that I was buying the wholesale items at a point where my profit margin would be at the point that I wanted it to be, that my price point would reflect a good profit margin. And all of these, I worked really hard to find the actual wholesale vendors that were selling the same style of hats to the big companies, so that I was getting at least the same quality, if not better, than the massive companies out there. So started doing accessories. I actually started doing woven labels too, which actually came in these strips, and then I would hand cut them myself, and then they went on t-shirts, but they also, I think I put them in the hats too. So it was just about, I think really working on building the quality of these products and really utilizing social media. I was on Karmaloop probably for like 2 years, I think, and suddenly I was shipping things all around the world. I was shipping them to California, shipping them to the UK. I know I sent a hat to Dubai. I sent stuff to Australia. Like, it was absolutely insane. In the end, come summer of 2013, I was about to start my senior year of college, and I think I had just gotten to a point where I had done what I wanted to do with it. I had done, 6 years. I think that we probably did maybe close to 10 different lines of hats, t-shirts, sweatshirts, like different things. And I just got to a point where I think a lot of people do with certain businesses, of you've kind of done what you wanted to do with it, and the thought of watching it fall apart just because of like negligence was really sad to me, because it had been such a huge part of my life. So I decided that I wanted to close it in August of 2013, and it was time. I wanted to go and do other things. I wanted to, I ended up getting an internship that summer, which turned into a full-time job after I graduated in the city. But it was just this amazing experience to do, and to build something like this at that age. A lot of people didn't know that I was 16, 17, 18 at the time, but I still kept a lot of the stuff. I still wear them. I still have people ask me about it sometimes, of whether I'm still doing my t-shirt business, but it, it was one of the best experiences that I could have had with a first venture, and doing it really young. You have that fire and that fearlessness of just going out there and just pursuing, trying to learn, trying things out and failing and picking yourself back up again. So that's the story of my first business. I just wanted to talk about it a little bit. My first business, but definitely not my last.